Hello, beautiful souls. This is Abhiya George, Assistant Professor of Department of English, Giridipam Institute of Advanced Learning, Vadavathur. Welcome to a new session of Interactions and Impressions, organized as part of the 5-day Faculty Development Program, jointly organized by the Department and IQAC for KG and LP teachers. Dear teachers, let's get going. A big salute to all dear teachers who give it their best shot to shape and mold the tender minds. The formative years of a child should be given adequate attention that would enable the child to grow into a human being of well-versed nature. Amidst all the unprecedented situations, you instill the young minds with happiness, contentment, and hope. Children determine the future of the society. They need proper guidance, supervision, and acknowledgement. Here are some interesting quotes and beautiful tales to motivate our dear young students. Quotations are literary device that can inspire us. They are the treasure trove of knowledge. Here are a few examples. No one is perfect. That's why pencils have erasers. Children use pencils with erasers. Let us teach them that human beings are fallible creatures. They make mistakes, but there is room for correction. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. As we sail through uncharted waters, we'll come across varied situations. Remind them not to hesitate. Tell them to give a good start. Well begun is half done. If you can dream it, you can do it. Let our children dream. Assure that by doing hard work and smart work, they can achieve their dreams. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. Never forget to teach them the benefits of reading. Exercise makes our body fit. So is reading. It gives you a healthy mind that can perform wonders. The kids who ask why are the ones who are going to change the world. Encourage our students to ask questions. Let them grow by asking questions. Give them the strength to ask questions. The beautiful thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you. Remind them knowledge is power. Nobody can steal away knowledge from them. Empower the society with knowledge. When one door of happiness closes, another opens. Life is full of opportunities. It is a mix of good and bad moments. Seize the opportunities and make the best out of it. Now let's listen to some motivating stories. Smile is nostalgic, contagious, and highly communicable. This smiling lady is Yusra Marudini. Let's pay attention to her life story. Once in Damascus, Syria, there was a swimmer called Yusra. Every day, she and her sister trained with their dad at the local swimming pool. Syria was at war, and one day a bomb was dropped on the swimming pool. Luckily, Yusra was not there at the time. Shortly afterward, her house was destroyed by another bomb. It was another narrow escape. All of a sudden, Yusra and her family had nothing left and nowhere to live, so they decided to flee the country. Yusra had heard that Germany was a good place for swimmers. The journey was long and getting there would be hard, but that did not put Yusra off. She and her sister joined a group of other refugees for a month-long journey across several countries and then on board a rubber dinghy to the island of Lesbos. The boat was only meant for 6 or 7 people. There were 20 crammed aboard. Suddenly, the motor broke down. We can't die at sea, Yusra thought. We are swimmers. And so she jumped into the water with her sister and another boy. They kicked and swam and dragged and pushed the boat for more than 3 hours until they finally reached the shore. When they reached Germany, the first question Yusra asked was, "Where can I find a swimming club?" Not only did she find one, in 2016, She was part of the first refugee team ever to compete in the Olympics. There has been a lot of talk about saving the environment, acquiring habits that don't do harm to the nature, preserving the wildlife, etc. Now it's time for us to listen to the story of the forest man of India, Yadav Payeng. 65-year-old Yadav Payeng was conferred the title the Forest Man in Delhi by the Government of India on World Earth Day in 2010 for turning a barren land of 550 hectares into a lush green forest all by himself. It took close to 30 years for the land to turn into a forest, and Yadav is protective about it. He started planting in 1979 and continues doing that even today. Let's listen to his words. Payeng says, "People want to know my story. I tell them I just plant trees, and I would like all of you to do so. Trees are the lifeline of the forest. They don't just give us shade and oxygen. They feed birds and animals and balance our ecosystem. If there is no life left, what is the use of all the advancements we have made?" Let us remember, one book, one pen, and one teacher can change the world. Who says this? Yes, none other than Malala Yousafzai. Here is a short description on her life. Once there was a girl who loved school. Her name was Malala. Malala lived in a peaceful valley in Pakistan. One day, a group of armed men called the Taliban took control of the valley. They frightened people with their guns. The Taliban forbade girls from going to school. Many people disagreed, but they thought it would be safer to keep their girls at home. Malala thought this was unfair and wrote about it online. She loved school very much. So one day she said on TV, "Education is power for women. The Taliban are closing girls' schools because they don't want women to be powerful." A few days later, Malala got onto her school bus as usual. Suddenly, two Taliban men stopped the bus and shouted, "Which one of you is Malala?" When her friends looked at her, the men fired their guns, hitting her in the head. Malala was rushed to hospital and she did not die. Thousands of children sent her get well cards and she recovered faster than anyone could have imagined. They thought bullets would silence us, but they failed, she said. "Let us pick our books and our pens. They are our most powerful weapons." Malala is the youngest person ever to receive the Nobel Prize for Peace. Holding respect for the environment and nature will invariably stop you from taking any action that is erroneous. It's a gesture that every one of us should acquire in order to realize that protecting the environment is not a task or a job, but is a responsibility to be fulfilled with honesty in heart. Here is a story of Rajapan, who hails from Kottayam, Kerala. Rajapan, an eco-warrior who has been fishing out plastic bottles in Vepanadu Lake in Kerala to keep the lake plastic-free. He has been awarded Taiwan's the Supreme Master Ching Hai International's Shining World Earth Protection Award. His efforts were praised by Prime Minister Narendra Modi through a Mann Ki Baat program. Paralyzed below his knees, Rajapan gets into a country boat by crawling on his knees. Starting early in the day, he continues collecting plastic bottles floating on the surface of the river and the lake until dusk on his boat. He then keeps it all tied up and segregated at his house. Rajapan makes a living by selling these plastic bottles to wholesale scrap dealers. We have seen different real life stories to inspire the kids. How about an imaginative one? Most of the moral stories are the imaginative inputs of great writers. It gives us the opportunity to widen our creative horizon. Let's have a look at Rosie, a fictitious character. Rosie is a little girl who is shy and reserved, but she enjoys playing football. Her friends and classmates ridicule Rosie for her interest in soccer. Nonetheless, she is determined to pursue her passion and become a successful sports person. Every day after returning from school, Rosie quickly finishes her homework and practices football. Her family understands the love Rosie has for the sport and supports her in every way. When the inter-school competitions are announced at the school, Rosie decides to participate. She takes part in the selection trials and her classmates mock her once again. But they are shocked when Rosie performs well and the judges select her to represent the school. Rosie's commitment and hard work mute every person who mocked her. If not now, when? If not us, who? Let's spread the goodness of life. These are seeds that can sprout and become huge trees that provide shade and shelter for many. We can share good and motivating stories with our kids and ask them to frame stories on their own. Our kids are brilliant. They can craft amazing tales. To help, we can provide them with familiar situations. Speak to them in clear and simple language. Let's listen to them with patience. Give them sufficient time to think and speak. For sure, it can enhance their creative skills and language skills. The highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence, says the great Indian writer Rabindranath Tagore. Imagine a kaleidoscope, and with each shake of the instrument, a new picture emerges. We have discussed only a few examples, and as teachers, you have many more strategies to encourage your students. We are shaped by each other. Let's contribute to the holistic development of our children. Let us stimulate and sensitize young minds. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time for us. We couldn't have done without you. Thank you once again.